G'day! Today we're doing a quick video on a transmission service on a FJ Cruiser. Now the ID plate's here on the back door there, and you can see it's got the A750F transmission in it. And this one has done about 270 odd thousand kilometres. Been a while since we last serviced it. Got a sticker up there that was due at 150. In these particular transmissions, they don't have a dipstick, so all the testing and checking of fluid levels is done from underneath. While you've got it up, good idea to check all your universal joints on the tail shaft, check for any oil leaks. Might be a good idea to do a oil change on the transfer case and your diffs, front and rear. Bit of an oil weep there somewhere. Now with these transmissions, the filler plug is on the driver's side or on the right hand side of the vehicle. You can see it up there. And they've got two plugs on the pan, you'll find. One will actually let all the oil out, or fluid out, and the other one over here has a little tube in there. That's actually your fill mark there. So I'll show you how to do that later, but if you want to drain all the oil out, you take this one out. Good idea to always take the pan off, clean the magnets in there. An oil change will not do very much. You need to take the pan off, replace the filter, clean the magnet or add magnets. And if you want to just check your fluid level, if you've got an oil leak or anything like that, you do it on this plug here with the motor running. So we'll just whiz off the filter. You can see they're all 10mm bolts. Just bear in mind, if you're taking it off and it's still a bit warm, you will get an airlock there and there will be a surge of hot oil coming out. Or even cold oil, you don't want it all over your head if you're doing it on the ground. And you can see the pan, you can see the little tube that measures the oil level height, and also the magnets. And that's why it's important to actually remove the pan to clean these magnets, and then what will happen, you won't get all that muck circulating through the transmission and becoming attracted to your solenoids. Solenoids control all the shifts and the pressures in the transmission, as well as speed sensors. They're all magnetic. Now you can see all the solenoids there. You've got shift solenoids and you've got linear solenoids. So you don't want that fine muck becoming attracted to the solenoids. It'll reduce the life of it and the efficiency of it. Some of these solenoids actually operate at 500 Hertz, which is 500 movements a second, metering the oil flow, so it's important to keep them as clean and uncontaminated as possible. Because this unit's done a high mileage, we're going to add a neodymium magnet to it. Important to always test it without the pan gasket if you're adding magnets, especially if it's in a spot that hasn't been provided for it. And I like to put them up on their edge, up on the edge of that. The idea is so the magnet works top and bottom, maximum surface area, collecting all that rubbish. If you put it flat, only the top half of the magnet will actually collect any debris. Okay, we've got the pan back on. Now up here, if you have a look, there's a 24mm plug, and that's where we actually fill the transmission fluid. To fill it to the correct level, you need to get the transmission up between 45 and 55 degrees. The oil expands with heat, so it's important to not overheat it and check it. And it's also important to not check it while it's under that temperature. If you're doing this on the ground, I'd recommend doing it at 45 degrees because it'll take you a little bit of time to get under there and have a look. The transmission will warm up pretty quickly. So what we'll do, we'll put the plug in and we'll put about 4.5 litres in and see how we go. Another thing you probably could do if you're doing it in your own yard is pre-fill the transmission fluid. Just makes it a little bit easier than pumping it in through there if you're doing it on the ground. And just for reference, that's a 5mm Allen key plug. And we are using the Tritech ATF or Auto Trans Fluid full synthetic multi-trans. You can see that one does the Toyota Type T, T2, T3, T4 and D2. Now it is a little bit awkward to get your filler in there, especially because the exhaust pipe's right there as well. So if you're doing it on the ground, good idea to pre-fill it or even overfill it. But just be careful when you're putting the pan on not to get any oil splashing on that cork rubber gasket or it will weep. Good idea to put them on dry. Okay, we're in the vehicle, handbrake on, in park, start it up. We've got about 4.5 litres in, and we're just going to go through all the gears, foot hard on the brake. Run right through a couple of times. And back in the park. Now we've got to go down and just make sure it's got enough oil in it at 50 degrees, or between 45 and 55 degrees. Now ideally you'd get a scan tool and get the temperature reading, but you can also use a digital thermometer. You can see we're on 45 and over here we're on 35. The cooling lines are at the front, so the oil's circulating and coming back into here. So we'll let that warm up a little bit more, get it to about 50 degrees, and then we just take this plug out and the oil should just be trickling out. Okay, it's been running for a little while, and you can see that the temperature now has sort of stabilised right through the whole thing. So 42, 43 at the front, 42, 40. So not much of a temperature difference now. Still needs to warm up to at least 45 degrees, and it should be just trickling out of there. Up to 45 degrees, we're just going to take that measuring plug out. We're a little bit over full. That's from 4.5 litres. We just want that trickling out, probably half that stream. And that should be good there now. So we probably overfilled it a little bit, probably about half a litre. So 4 litres probably would have been enough, between 4 and 4.5 litres. One other thing you can do while you're doing a transmission service on one of these, or any transmission, is pop out these speed sensors. They'll get magnetised, or they're magnetised, and they'll attract fine metal as well. So you can, they're quite often, they're just one bolt and they'll slide out. Just make sure you clean around it before you take it out. You don't want to push any of that road dirt back into the transmission. Anyway, I hope that's helped. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Leave any comments or questions underneath the video there. Don't forget to also check out my other videos related to these same transmissions. And also throw me a beer if any of this information has saved you a few dollars and helped out in any way. It's very much appreciated and it keeps us motivated. Thank you for watching.